Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, also known as the King of Armor Destruction, the Armor Wizard. Zap. We have a body armor demo today because that's why you tuned in from LA Police Gear. Now, in full transparency, they contacted me and offered to send me a pair of these plates so that I can provide them some solid data on with no strings attached. This is a level 4 offering, single curve, edge to edge. Let's take a closer look at these guys in the table and see what we're going to do today. Now, if you've been on my channel for a little while, we've tested the LA Police Gear plates a while back and through various different types of videos, and they are a solid low-end budget level 4 or level 3 plate. Typically they employ ceramic strike faces and they have a little foam ring on there, so they are a little lighter than average, but that's because they have less ceramic. What's different about this particular model is that it has or claims to have edge-to-edge ceramic strike face on it. So this guy weighs 8.09 pounds or 3.67 kilograms. It is 1.156 inches thick or 29.36 millimeters. This is a 10 by 12 single curve plate, and we measured it close to its true size. We've got a little square on there indicating so, if you wonder what that's on there for. We just added that late 2024. As I mentioned, it is single curve, so we have one rolling curve right there. Normally with a multi-curve plate, you've got another curve here, or actually sometimes even 2 or 3 curves there. Depending on your body type, I find that multi-curve plates fit the best, but some people may prefer a single curve depending on their use case. Now, if this is the first time you're viewing my YouTube channel, here comes the long-winded speech. You can always skip to the action if you don't want to listen to any of this, but it is vital information. We're after worst case scenario on my channel, so you guys have confidence in this personal protection equipment if you decide to make that buying decision to purchase these. Since this is rifle armor, we shoot at 45 feet. We also shoot at 0 degrees, again, because that is worst case scenario. Any oblique angles only add to the amount of material that that bullet has to penetrate and could give you false performance aspects. Since this employs a ceramic strike face per the NIJ, we've dropped each plate on its face 2 times as a preconditioning test. After we've done that, we mark a DT on the plate indicating that we've done so. If we do it any more than 2 times, we'll mark that there. We also mark TQ if it passed a torque test. Both plates did, and that's where you take the opposing edges of the plate and you apply force to listen for any cracking. Since I'm assuming this is a tile or array plate, maybe it's not, we'll find out when we do the teardown. We also use a giant clay briefcase filled with Roma Plastilina #1 clay from Chavant, and that acts as our compressible media, and it's like a 90-pound object to set the armor up against because we don't want the armor flying there and about, so we want to strap it down so again we can get that maximum energy transfer on that plate for worst case scenario. Now the NIJ heats that up to 100 degrees. They drop a 2.5-inch ball from like 6 feet or something. They measure that dimple, and if it's 19 to 22 millimeters in like 6 spots, that clay is certified for accurate representation. Now, it's like 50 degrees outside today. I don't have an environmental chamber or any way to keep the heat in it, so I have it heating in an igloo down there, and then once I take it out of there, the temperature starts dropping. So we're looking at a representation of what back face could be. If you see something like 60 millimeters in my clay from a 308 shot or from a 5.56 shot in the NIJ's clay, that likely would be failing. We also use a chronograph whenever possible. We have a ProChronopal Digital DLX as well as a Garmin Zero C1. We got that from Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, back in, I think, May or June, and it's good to have that second data set so that if one of the chronographs fails, we have a backup. And I use a chronograph because we need to know the velocity of that bullet. For level 4, M2 armor piercing has to be going 2880 feet per second, and you usually do not see that out of surplus ammunition, or with 22 or 24-inch barrel guns, you need a 26 and that surplus to get very close to that velocity. We also put a spreadsheet here at the beginning and the end. We kind of foreshadow all the threats that we're going to shoot at it. We mark our penetrations and our velocities in the end, and we do a teardown to see what the guts are going to look like and to confirm that this is an edge-to-edge strike face. Typically, what I do with a lot of plates, I get them in. If they don't have an edge-to-edge strike face, I'll stab the outside of the edge with an X-Acto knife to try to find out where that edge is. So doing that teardown is a confirmation. I do want to remind everyone that I am not an NIJ lab, so if you see a threat stop or penetrated over here, you should always defer to the manufacturer or reseller to produce accredited and recent and frequent lab results showing that these plates are capable of stopping the threats that they're rated for. And on the flip side, if you're the manufacturer and you see me stop a threat, you should send it off to a lab and have that added as a special threat to your panel. Plate 1 is ready to go, and we're going to start right off with the NIJ spec M2 armor piercing. This is a 165 grain full metal jacket with a hardened steel penetrating core. As I mentioned, I had to load them in 300 Win Mag to get that spec velocity. It is colder outside, so we're going to be teetering that line, but last time I checked these should be good. We're going to take 3 shots on this plate. Hopefully our luck is a little better versus that Hi-Com 4S AS4 plate. 2891, 2865, 2876. So those velocities, at least by the Garmin, are right in line. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing over there. Easy enough. Shots number 1, 2, and then 3. Now, I can tell right away that we may be borderline construction quality of this plate in terms of adhering our strike face to our backer. This is the left-hand section right here, and it literally just shot out the side and was on the table. I was like, what the heck is that? But they're using alumina, so good that they're to the edge. But when we're adhering this strike face, we need to use more adhesive throughout the entire structure and probably autoclave that. Place those bets in the comments below. The clay is nice and warm. Uh-oh, Raggy. We had a pass through on the 3rd shot down there. But look at the back face. There is hardly any deformation on that one. I'm not quite sure how that got through down there. Like I said, if we're not using good adhesive uniformly, all the way through the panel, then you could get spots that don't adhere very well. So this back face right here, 22 millimeters, not too shabby. And that first one, 7 millimeters. Very, very impressive. Now, I'll have to be careful on how I shoot the rest of this plate, but we'll throw the 5.56 at this to see what the limit is. This is where we get to play with a little bit of that multi-hit capability. Generally speaking, level 4, even under the new RF3 standard, is either 1 shot, 3 shot, and I think up to 6 shots, but 4 of those are at 0 degrees, and then 2 of those are at 30 degrees. But we've got our 22-inch TC compass, so this is maximum velocity in 5.56 NATO until we load those in 22 Creedmoor. But we've got our M193 that's known for popping steel plates and some ceramics. We've got our M855A1, that's our 62 grain EPR round, the U.S. Army's current issue, all the way down to basic, 62 grains, copper core, hardened steel penetrator, and our standard M855 SS109. 3332, 3307, to the right below that last shot. 3307, now the M855, 3011, 3025, now our M855A1, 3141, 3119, 3130, 3115. A lot of carnage on this plate. I like that we've got some kind of Kevlar aramid material on the front for either a laminating layer, but it's not doing a very good job. But our M193 shots number 1, 2, and then 3. Then our M855 number 1, and then number 2. Then our A1 was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Place those bets in the comments below. This plate is pretty much done at this point. Oh, Raggy. We have 2 penetrations from this plate. Looks like our A1 right there, and that looks like maybe it is just that 1 shot of A1 right here. That is kind of in a compromised area based on the quality of the strike face. Likely this shot shifted that tile, but cool. Let's move on to plate number 2 and we'll get these torn down. I say we have a little fun with plate number 2. This is from R.A.N.G.E or Swiss P. This is their full metal jacket hardcore. It's a lead core, but it has a tungsten penetrator in the front end. 2868, 2913, Another tungsten threat, this time in 30 caliber. This is our Swiss P AP. This is a 196 grain, has a very interesting like egg pointed shape tungsten penetrator in there. Same penetrator that they use in the 260 grain 338 Lapua, but this one's 196 grain. We'll take a shot from the 13 inch. If it doesn't go through, we'll foreshadow and maybe we'll step up the barrel length a little bit. 2249. Okay, let's foreshadow a little bit. We brought out the 16 inch, same threat. If you're looking to pick any of this up in 300 Winchester Magnum or 338 Lapua, War Pig Armory has quite a bit of this. Their discount code totally is not Buffman to save a little bit of cheddar on those. 2376. Now this is a 196 grain, so we're not going to see super warm velocities out of this. Our test would not be complete without our 300 wind chad loads. We've got our M14A1 API, Mr. Flashy Flash, nice and bright flash. It should look awesome because it is getting towards dusk. Then we've got our M80A1, that is the U.S. Army's EPR round of M80. It's 130 grains, copper core, hardened steel penetrating tip. There is a variance that allows for 49 to like 60 RHC, but every time I've checked these, they've been on the lower end, 49.50. These should be smoking fast out of the 300 Win Mag here. 35.39 in the bottom. Oh, 33.77. Ho.
So much fire, so satisfying.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our Swiss tungsten core 556 number 1 and number 2. Then our 196 grain from the 13 inch was right there, and the 16 inch was right there. M80A1 plus B plus was right there, and then Mr. Flashy Flash was right there. Look at what that thing does to the plate. Just blew this all to hell, if I could say that. I'm not sure if there's any spot left on this plate to try any more hits. I think because of the quality nature of that strike face adhesion, we're gonna call it. Place those bets in the comments below. Oh, Raggy, we have a pass through from that Swiss P AP in the 196 grain, but Mr. Flashy Flash and the M80A1 were stopped. Now, that back face down there, ooh, she a doozy. She a doozy. Only 34 millimeters, but it's quite large. This guy right here, 40 millimeters. The clay is still pretty soft, but because it's getting colder in the day, it's starting to harden up. But there you have it, folks. This is very typical performance from an imported tile array plate. Again, I've said it probably 8 times in this video. The major downfall to these is the lack of adhesion from that strike face to that backer. The polyethylene seems to be pretty good. Let's tear this guy down. Paging Dr. Matt to surgery. Paging Dr. Matt to surgery. Now, for a fan favorite, that's the teardown. When we get to look at the guts of the plates, and with our ceramic composites, we get to look at all the different tidbits that make them up. This was plate number 2. Confirmed our only penetration was that Swiss P AP from the 16 inch. They're using polyethylene, and it actually appears to be pressed fairly well. That maintained its shape with all of that energy. I measured that right around 530 thousandths thick. Now, when I talk about that adhesives and lack of uniformity, I think that's the word I was trying to say earlier, you can see where the glue is and isn't. So we need more uniform adhesive and stronger adhesive throughout the entire size of the plate. Then we need to put that ceramic straight face on there and then autoclave it. I know GTS Armor has talked about his methods for adhering those together to make a better multi-hit capable plate. And here's our strike face. Confirmed that thing does go edge to edge, so they had custom cut tiles to get there. Now, there is just a little bit of foam, as you can see right there on the upper edges, but we're using alumina. We measured those tiles right around 410 thousandths thick. Now, there is a drop face foam protectant and some aramid fiber on there to kind of act like a laminating layer, but again, we need more adhesive on this too. I measured that right around 120 thousandths thick. For a single curved plate, again,
I don't want to set your budget expectations. That's up to you. Again, I can't value your life. That is for you to do on your own. And generally speaking, you should probably spend as much money as you can afford on personal protection equipment. But these do the job. And as long as LA Police Gear is sending them off frequently to have them lot tested for conformity and they do their job, they'll probably work. And again, they're on the lower end of the budget. You can certainly save up and buy better quality plates, but not too shabby. We're stopping our AP threats from this plate at, contact distance with maximum real world velocity. So at range or with shorter barrel lengths, these plates are going to stop those threats, at least in theory. The downside is a true multi-hit capable plate. These would likely be limited to 5 to 10 hits depending on what those threats are and how close they are to each other. Let's close this one out because my table is a mess.
Well, folks, hopefully I don't look too dark in post. We're at the end of our day for light. I think it is sunset right around 5:20 p.m., but I wanted to get this test done. Fairly impressive LA Police Gear with this level 4 plate. Alumina, again, shows that it is good at stopping a wide variety of threats, but it has to be on the thicker side, and the downside to that is that the plate tends to weigh more. This edge-to-edge single curve plate tipped the scales at right around 8 pounds. That's as much as other normal level 4 plates like our RMA 1155. We stopped a tirade of threats, including our 300 wind shad plus P plus and some tungsten core threats, but the multi-hit capability of this plate tended to be on the low end because of that poor adhesion between that backer and our ceramic strike face. I do like that this is edge to edge, that they're trying to better their offerings and adding a drop face foam on there to prevent any cracks and to act as a laminating layer to keep all that stuff together as long as possible. But they should hire some additional R&D and engineering time to ensure that we can bump the quality of this plate up so we have good adhesion between that backer and that ceramic strike face. With all that being said, it's time for me to get the heck out of here. But at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible, because there's a lot that goes into them. Number one is my family. They are a huge support to the channel. They do all kinds of things on the back end that you guys don't see, like pushing the button on the camera or helping me take care of the property and sort things, or even pulling the trigger from time to time. Deacon would like to remind you all to like, subscribe, and share this content, so if there are other people who are looking at this personal protection equipment, they can have the information they need to make better buying decisions. Number two are my Patreon, Subscribe Star, and YouTube channel members. I have a campsite in the description below. There are varying different discount links or affiliate tracking codes in there that cost you nothing. They earn me a sales commission, and what I do with that is I put it right back in the channel. I bought that SIG MCX spear from Sig Sauer, and that cost a pretty penny, but now we have that as an additional caliber to do some testing on. Number three is LA Police Gear. Again, in full transparency, sent me those level 4 plates to destroy with no strings attached. I do have an affiliate discount set up with them. It is in the description below. Again, I'm not trying to push you towards that sale, but if you like what you saw and you've made your buying decision to buy these and you want to say thank you to the channel, that's what the link is there for. Number four is Warpig Armory. A big thank you to them for having that Swiss P AP available so that we can do some testing with it to see how good it is compared to M993. I totally don't have a discount code of Buffman from them if you're looking to pick anything up. And of course, number five is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range. And now it's dark outside and it's going to be impossible for me to pick all this stuff up. Goodbye, everyone.